Liverpool have already made a number of important additions this summer, but according to Jamie Carragher, there is still one major area of the squad that could cause serious problems for Andoni Iraola this season, and it is right in the middle of the pitch. Let's break this down. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. The former Liverpool defender has raised major concerns over the club's midfield options, specifically the lack of a natural number 6. While the focus has largely been on strengthening the attack before the transfer window closes, Carragher believes Liverpool could be making a mistake by failing to address what he sees as a glaring weakness. Speaking on the overlap, Carragher was blunt about the situation, saying, "The midfield issue for me is still a huge problem for Liverpool." And his concerns centre around the amount of space Liverpool have been leaving through the middle of the pitch. Ryan Gravenberch operated as the number 6 during Liverpool's title-winning campaign, but Carragher believes last season exposed the limitations of using him in that role, particularly when the midfield was instructed to push forward and left too much space behind. That could become an even bigger issue if Dominik Szoboszlai is deployed alongside Gravenberch as part of a double pivot. Carragher explained, "The problem Liverpool had last season was there was space everywhere in Liverpool's midfield. That has not gone away at all." He then questioned whether moving Szoboszlai deeper could actually make the problem worse. That's only going to get bigger with the deployment of Szoboszlai in midfield. It looks like they're going to play him, rather than as a number 10, almost as a central midfield player alongside Gravenberch. And that is just pure box-to-box. And that led to one of Carragher's biggest warnings yet. "I look at that midfield 3 and I worry about Liverpool." The interesting part is that Carragher isn't questioning the individual quality of Liverpool's midfielders. He openly acknowledged that players such as Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and Florian Wirtz are all capable of producing at the highest level. The concern is whether they possess the right combination of qualities to function effectively as a midfield unit. As Carragher put it, "You can't say Gravenberch is not a really good player, or Wirtz, or Szoboszlai. But as a midfield 3, I look at that and think, oh no, there's almost too much quality, but they all want to go and play and run." And perhaps most worryingly, Carragher believes the warning signs have already appeared during pre-season. Even in pre-season, the space is coming through the middle. That is where the argument for a new defensive midfielder becomes particularly important. Alexis Mac Allister is another player who could potentially operate deeper, but Carragher questioned whether that would actually maximize his strengths. What's the point of Mac Allister if he's not your passer? Because he's not running everywhere. He's supposed to sit in midfield and dictate the play. Carragher also pointed out that Gravenberch isn't a traditional all-action defensive midfielder in the mold of someone like Moises Caicedo. Gravenberch isn't what you'd call a complete midfielder. He's not a Caicedo. He's probably got a slightly different game. He's not just an out-and-out number 6. In other news, there has been a major development in Liverpool's pursuit of Bradley Barcola, and this time it has come directly from Paris Saint-Germain manager Luis Enrique. Liverpool's interest in the French winger is no secret, but the biggest obstacle has remained PSG's enormous asking price. The French champions are believed to want around £145 million for Barcola, while Liverpool's valuation is closer to £102.6 million. That gap has appeared significant, but Enrique's latest comments could suggest that the situation is beginning to change. Speaking ahead of the French Super Cup, Enrique was discussing the kind of players he wants at PSG and made a particularly interesting remark about those who may not be completely happy at the club. He said, "We are a very young, very ambitious team. It is important for us to make changes and look for players who enjoy playing our way and who love playing for PSG." But then came the line that has immediately raised eyebrows among Liverpool supporters. Enrique added, "When a player doesn't want to come here or doesn't have a smile on their face about being here, it is better to find another solution." Now, Enrique did not actually name Barcola. However, given everything that has been reported around the winger's future, the timing of those comments is extremely interesting. Barcola has only just returned to pre-season training and was an unused substitute during PSG's Super Cup victory over Aston Villa. Even more intriguingly, his celebrations appeared noticeably muted. That does not prove that Barcola wants to leave PSG. But when you combine that with Liverpool's continued pursuit and Enrique openly discussing finding solutions for players who are unhappy, it certainly creates an intriguing picture. And Liverpool are apparently still pushing. Reports in France claim that Liverpool remain in contact with PSG over a potential deal for Barcola, with L'Equipe's Loic Tanzi reporting that an offer is being prepared, which could potentially involve 18-year-old Ibrahim Mbaye as part of the equation. There is another fascinating factor here as well. PSG have already been making moves in the attacking areas, with Ferran Torres and Mika Götze reportedly arriving on their radar. If the French club continue reshaping their forward line, that could potentially make room for a major departure. And that is where Liverpool come into the picture. The Reds need attacking reinforcements, particularly if Cody Gakpo's situation develops as expected. If Gakpo does eventually leave Anfield, Liverpool are widely expected to look at bringing in two wingers. Barcola would be one of those targets. And that could completely change the complexion of this transfer saga. Liverpool would still have to bridge a significant financial gap with PSG. But if Enrique and the French champions genuinely believe that a player who is not completely committed to remaining in Paris should be moved on, then suddenly the possibility of a compromise becomes far more realistic. For Liverpool, this could be the opportunity they have been waiting for. The Reds are reportedly prepared to go to around £102.6 million, while PSG want closer to £145 million. Somewhere between those two figures could potentially be where this deal gets done. And with just 17 days remaining in the transfer window, time is running out. Richard Hughes still has plenty of work to do. Liverpool are not only trying to bring in new attacking players, but there are also questions surrounding Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott and Federico Chiesa, while several loan deals could still take place. But Barcola remains one of the biggest stories. Liverpool want him. PSG want an enormous fee.